I want to share something with you tonight that will completely transform the way you manifest. Every time you speak about your desire before it has hardened into fact, you are diluting its power. Every time you explain, defend, or justify what you're creating, you are operating from the consciousness of lack, from the assumption that it isn't already done. There is a sacred silence, a Sabbath of the mind, where your desire becomes so real within you that speaking about it feels unnecessary. When you enter this silence, you enter the very presence of the creative power. And from that stillness, your world rearranges itself to match the assumption you've claimed in the privacy of your own consciousness. Before we go further, I invite you to leave a comment below. Simply write what you're manifesting. Don't explain it, don't justify it, just name it. This act of declaring it to yourself anchors your intention as we journey together tonight. Now let me tell you what I've discovered. The moment you feel compelled to talk about your desire to announce it, to share it, to get validation for it, you are revealing the state you're actually occupying. And that state is not the state of the wish fulfilled. That state is the state of waiting, hoping, trying to convince yourself and others that it's possible. Think about it. When you have money in your bank account, do you walk around telling everyone you have money? When you're in a loving relationship, do you constantly announce to strangers that you're loved? No, you don't. Because the having of it makes the speaking of it unnecessary. The reality of it is so established in your consciousness that you rest in it. This is what I mean by the silence technique. It is not about keeping a secret out of superstition. It is about dwelling so completely in the state of the wish fulfilled that your inner conversation requires no outer validation. Let me give you the spiritual law at work here. Neville Goddard taught us that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your outer world is a reflection, a shadow of the state you occupy within. Your state is not your mood. Your state is the sum total of your assumptions about yourself and your world. When you talk excessively about what you're trying to manifest, you are speaking from the old state. The state of desire, the state of want, the state of, I don't have this yet, but I hope I will. And the universe, which is nothing but your own wonderful human imagination, pushed out responds not to your words, but to your state. Words rooted in lack create more lack. Silence rooted in fulfillment creates fulfillment. There is a passage in Ecclesiastes that Neville loved to quote, "There is a time to keep silence and a time to speak." This is not moral advice. This is a mystical truth about the creative process. Before the word was made flesh, there was silence. Before your assumption hardens into fact, there must be a period of inner stillness where you do not disturb the seed you've planted in consciousness. I have seen this principle work in my own life and in the lives of countless others who have applied it. The people who manifest quickly and consistently are not the ones constantly talking about what they want. They are the ones who have claimed it inwardly, who have accepted it as done, and who now move through the world as the person who already possesses it. Their silence is not secrecy. Their silence is certainty. Now, I want you to understand something crucial. When I say nothing, I do not mean suppress your desire. I do not mean pretend you don't want what you want. I mean this: occupy the state of already having it so completely that you have nothing left to prove, nothing left to explain, and nothing left to convince anyone of, including yourself. Let me illustrate this with a story Neville once shared. A woman came to him desperate for a specific job. Every day she told her friends about the job she wanted. She explained why she deserved it, how perfect it would be, how much she needed it. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. The more she talked, the more she reinforced the state of not having. Neville instructed her to stop talking about the job entirely. Instead, he told her to enter into the feeling of already working there. To imagine the congratulations of her friends as though the job was already hers. To feel the satisfaction of her first paycheck. To rehearse in her mind the daily routine of going to that workplace. She did this in silence. She told no one. She stopped seeking validation. She stopped explaining. Within 2 weeks, she received the call offering her the position under circumstances she could never have orchestrated through effort alone. What happened? Did the universe reward her for keeping a secret? No. She changed her state. And when she changed her state, her outer world had no choice but to reflect that change. You see, every time you talk about your desire from a place of wanting it, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the very state of not having it. Your subconscious does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It only knows the state you predominantly occupy. If you occupy the state of desire of reaching for something you don't have, that is what you will continue to experience. Desire, longing, waiting. But if you occupy the state of fulfillment of already being the person who has received, then that state must externalize. It is law. Here's how you practice the silence technique tonight. I'm going to give you a specific process you can use before you sleep. This is based on Neville's teaching of SATS, state akin to sleep, which is the most powerful time to impress your subconscious mind. First, identify what you desire. Be specific. Don't say, I want to be happy. Say, I am in a relationship with a partner who cherishes me, or I am living in my dream home in Colorado, or I am earning $10,000 a month doing work I love. Second, construct a simple scene that implies your wish is already fulfilled. This scene should be something that would naturally occur after you've received what you desire. For example, if you desire a relationship, your scene might be a friend congratulating you on your engagement. If you desire financial freedom, your scene might be you checking your bank account and seeing the balance you want. Third, tonight before you sleep, as you're lying in bed in that drowsy state between waking and sleeping, replay that scene in your imagination. Feel it. Hear the words. See the images. Make it sensory. Make it real. And here is the critical part. As you do this, say nothing to anyone. Do not announce your technique. Do not explain what you're doing. Do not seek permission or validation from others. Enter the silence of your own consciousness and dwell there. Neville said, "The world is a mirror forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. If you are inwardly silent and inwardly fulfilled, the world must reflect that fulfillment. If you are outwardly loud and inwardly empty, the world will reflect that emptiness. This is why Jesus taught, when you pray, go into your closet and shut the door. The closet is not a physical room. The closet is your own consciousness. Shutting the door means withdrawing your attention from the outer world of circumstances and dwelling in the inner world of imagination, where all things are possible. Prayer is not begging an external God for favors. Prayer is assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persisting in that assumption until it hardens into fact. And silence is the womb in which that assumption gestates. I know some of you are thinking, but what if people ask me about it? What if I'm excited and I want to share? Here's what I tell you, share your excitement with yourself first. Celebrate in the privacy of your imagination. Throw a party in your mind. Feel the joy of having received before you announce anything to the outer world. When your assumption is fully formed, when your inner conviction is unshakable, then you can speak. But by that time, you won't be speaking to convince anyone. You'll be speaking from the naturalness of someone who already possesses what they once desired. There is a profound difference between talking to manifest and talking from manifestation. Talking to manifest says, I hope this works. I want this so badly. Do you think it's possible? It reeks of doubt. It reveals the gap between your current state and your desired state. Talking from manifestation says, "This is who I am now. This is my reality." It carries the authority of one who knows. It doesn't seek agreement because it doesn't need agreement. Let me share something personal with you. Years ago, I desired a complete transformation in my circumstances. I was broke, uncertain, and desperate for change. I tried every manifestation technique. I affirmed. I visualized. I made vision boards. And I talked about it constantly to my friends, to my family, to anyone who would listen. Nothing changed. In fact, things got worse. Then I discovered Neville's teachings. I learned that my constant talking was not evidence of faith, it was evidence of fear. Fear that it wouldn't happen. Fear that I needed to convince others so I could convince myself. So I stopped talking. I went into the silence. Every night I entered SATS and lived from the end. I felt myself as the person I wanted to be. I rehearsed scenes that implied my success, and I told no one. Within 3 months, my entire life had rearranged itself. Opportunities appeared that I couldn't have predicted. People showed up that I didn't know existed. Doors opened that had been closed for years, and when it all manifested, I finally understood. The silence wasn't about hiding my desire from the world. The silence was about protecting my assumption from the doubt of the world and from my own wavering faith. Now let me address a question you might have. What if my circumstances seem to contradict my desire? What if people ask me about the very thing I'm manifesting and the current facts say the opposite? Here's what you do. You speak to the outer world from your current facts if you must, but you never let the outer world disturb your inner assumption. This is what Neville meant when he said, "Live in the world, but not of it." If someone asks, "Did you get the job?" and you haven't yet, you can say, "Not yet." But inwardly, you dwell in the state of already having it. You do not let their question collapse your assumption. The key is this. Your dominant state must be fulfillment, not lack. Your inner conversation must be, "I have it," even if your outer conversation acknowledges current circumstances. This is not lying. This is understanding that your imagination is more real than the so-called facts of the world. Facts are the fruit of yesterday's consciousness. Imagination is the seed of tomorrow's reality. There's a beautiful teaching in the Bible that Neville often referenced. In the book of Exodus, when Moses asks God what his name is, God replies, "I am that I am." This is not the name of an external deity. This is the name of your own consciousness. I am is the creative power of the universe residing in you. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. When you say, "I am broke," you are commanding the creative power to make you broke. When you say, "I am unworthy," you are decreeing unworthiness into your experience. When you say, "I am waiting for my manifestation," you are perpetuating the state of waiting. But when you say, and more importantly, feel, "I am wealthy, I am loved, I am successful," you are claiming those states. And consciousness, being the only reality, must express those states in your world. The silence technique is about disciplining your I am. It's about refusing to attach lack to your consciousness, and instead, dwelling in the assumption of fulfillment quietly, persistently, without needing the world's permission. I want you to realize something profound tonight. You are not a beggar petitioning an external force for scraps. You are the operant power. You are God in human form imagining your world into being. Every time you speak from lack, you are denying your divinity. Every time you defend your desire, you are admitting you don't truly believe it's yours. Every time you seek validation, you are giving your power away. But when you enter the silence, when you claim your desire in the secret place of your own consciousness, and rest in that claim, you are exercising your divine authority. Neville said it perfectly. Do not go to the world to have it confirm what you have assumed. Let the world catch up to your assumption. This is the silence I'm teaching you. Not the silence of suppression, but the silence of sovereignty. The silence of one who knows that what they've imagined in the secret place must by law appear in the outer world. Let me give you some signs that you're doing this correctly. When you're truly dwelling in the silence of fulfillment, you'll notice these shifts. 1. You stop obsessively checking for signs of your manifestation. You're not anxiously looking for evidence because you've already accepted it as done in consciousness. 2. You feel a natural calm about your desire. Not the forced calm of trying to detach, but the genuine peace of someone who has already received. 3. Your inner conversations change. Instead of, "When will it come?" you think, "I wonder how it will unfold." Instead of, "I hope this works," you feel it is done. 4. You lose the compulsion to talk about it. Not because you're forcing yourself to be silent, but because the reality of it in your imagination is so satisfying that outer validation becomes irrelevant. 5 synchronicities begin to appear. The bridge of incidents, the series of events that connect your current state to your desired state, starts to unfold naturally, often in ways you couldn't have planned. I know some of you are in difficult circumstances right now. I know some of you have been manifesting for months, maybe years, and you're tired. You're wondering if this really works. You're tempted to give up. I tell you this with absolute certainty: it works. But it works according to law, not according to your impatience. The law is, this consciousness is the only reality. Whatever state you occupy in consciousness must externalize. But if you occupy a state for 5 minutes in your imagination and then spend the rest of your day in doubt, worry, and complaint, you are not persisting in the state. Manifestation is not about intensity, it's about persistence. It's about returning again and again to the state of the wish fulfilled until that state becomes natural to you. And silence, inner silence, the Sabbath of the mind, is how you protect that state from the doubt and fear that would uproot it. In the Gospel of Mark, there's a story of Jesus raising a little girl from the dead. Before he performs the miracle, he puts everyone out of the room except the parents. He creates silence. He removes the mockers, the doubters, the ones who would contradict his assumption. Then, in that silence, he speaks to the child, Talitha Kumi. Little girl, arise. And she arises. This is not a historical event. This is a psychological teaching. The little girl is your desire. The mockers are the doubting thoughts and the negative influences around you. Jesus is your own imaginal power. Before your desire can rise from the dead state of not yet manifested, you must put out the doubters. You must enter the silence of your own consciousness where only faith dwells. And in that silence, you speak the word not with your lips, but with your feeling. You assume the wish fulfilled. You dwell in the end, and what was dead comes to life. Now I'm going to give you your practice for tonight. This is not a suggestion. This is an invitation to prove the law to yourself. Tonight, before you sleep, identify one thing you desire. Just one. Make it specific. Write it down if you need to, but then put the paper away. You will tell no one about this desire for the next 7 days. For the next 7 nights, as you lie in bed in that drowsy state before sleep, you will imagine a scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. It should be short, 5 to 10 seconds, but it should be vivid. Use all your senses. Hear the sounds. Feel the feelings. See the images. Replay this scene over and over until you fall asleep. Do not let your mind wander to how it will happen or when it will happen. Simply dwell in the feeling that it has already happened. During the day, whenever you're tempted to talk about this desire, pause. Redirect that energy inward. Return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Silently claim it as already done. After 7 days, observe what has shifted in your outer world. You may see direct evidence of your manifestation, or you may see the bridge of incidents beginning to form, the seemingly random events that are actually arranging themselves to deliver your desire. I want to leave you with this truth tonight. You are not learning a technique. You are remembering who you are. You are the creator of your reality. You are consciousness itself imagining this entire world into being. The silence technique is not about manipulation. It's not about tricking the universe. It's about aligning your outer life with the power you already possess within. When you stop seeking validation from the world and start validating yourself through assumption, everything changes. When you stop explaining your dreams to others and start living them in imagination, the world rearranges itself to match your inner vision. This is not magic. This is law. The law of consciousness. The law of assumption. The law that says, as within, so without. As in consciousness, so in manifestation. So tonight, I invite you into the silence. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of fulfillment. Not the silence of hiding, but the silence of knowing. Enter the sacred space of your own imagination and dwell there as the person who has already received. Say nothing to the world until the world says it back to you. Assume the wish fulfilled in the privacy of your consciousness and watch as your assumption hardens into fact. This is your power. This is your inheritance. This is the truth that sets you free. Go now into the silence and create your world anew. If this teaching has resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. We explore the deepest truths of consciousness and manifestation, here always grounded in Neville Goddard's timeless wisdom. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. And remember, the power is within you. It has always been within you. Until next time, dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled and let your silence speak louder than any words ever could.